Welcome to Bible in a Year with Scott Purcell. I'm so glad you're joining me. This is a daily reading of portions of the Bible, following a plan that will include the entire Bible in a year. And now, let's open the book and begin our readings. This is the reading for day 140. If your reading is aligned with the calendar year, in a non-leap year, this is for May 20th, or in a leap year for May 19th. The Old Testament reading is from chapters 5, 6, and 7 from 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel chapter 5. Now the Philistines had captured the ark of God and brought it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. Then the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it to the temple of Dagon and placed it beside Dagon. When the Ashdodites got up early the next morning, there was Dagon fallen with his face to the ground before the ark of Yahweh. So they took Dagon and returned him to his place. When they got up early the next day, there was Dagon fallen again with his face to the ground before the ark of Yahweh. The head of Dagon and the palms of his two hands were cut off, lying at the threshold. Only the body of Dagon was left. Therefore, the priest of Dagon and all who come into the house of Dagon do not tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod until this very day. Now the hand of Yahweh was heavy against the Ashdodites, and he destroyed them and struck them with tumors, both in Ashdod and its territories. The men of Ashdod saw that it was so, and they said, "The ark of the God of Israel should not remain with us, because his hand is harsh on us and on Dagon our God." So they sent and gathered all the rulers of the Philistines to them, and they asked, "What shall we do with the ark of the God of Israel?" And they said, "Let the ark of the God of Israel be brought around toward Gath." So they moved the ark of the God of Israel to Gath. After they moved it, the hand of Yahweh was against the city, causing a very great confusion, and he struck the men of the city from the youngest to the oldest, causing tumors to break out on them. So they sent the ark of God to Ekron. But when the ark of God came to Ekron, the Ekronites cried out, saying, "They have brought around the ark of the God of Israel to kill us and our people." So they sent and gathered all the rulers of the Philistines, and they said, "Send away the ark of the God of Israel, and let it return to its place, so that it will not kill us and our people." For a deadly confusion was throughout all the city. The hand of God was very heavy there. The men who did not die were struck with the tumors, so that the cry of the city for help went up to heaven. 1 Samuel chapter 6. Now the ark of Yahweh had been in the territory of the Philistines for 7 months. And the Philistines called to the priests and to those who practiced divination, saying, "What should we do with the ark of Yahweh? Inform us how we should send it to its place." They said, "If you are sending the ark of the God of Israel away, you must not send it away empty, but by all means return it with a guilt offering. Then you will be healed, and it will become known to you why his hand is not turned aside from you." And they said, "What is the guilt offering that we should return to him?" They said, "The number of the rulers of the Philistines is 5. Therefore, send 5 gold tumors and 5 gold mice, because 1 plague was on all of you and all your rulers. You must make images of your tumors and images of your mice that are ravaging the land, and you must give glory to the God of Israel. Perhaps he will lighten his hand on you and on your gods and on your land. Why should you harden your hearts like the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their heart? Is it not just like when he dealt with them wantonly so that they sent them away and they left? So then, prepare 1 new utility cart and 2 milking cows that have never had a yoke on them. And you must harness the cows to the utility cart, and then turn their calves from following them to their stall. And you must take the ark of Yahweh and place it on the utility cart with the gold objects that you are returning to him as a guilt offering. You must place them in the container beside the ark, and then send it off so that it goes away. You must watch. If it goes up by the way of its territory to Beth Shemesh, he has caused this great disaster to come on us. But if not, we will know that his hand has not struck us. It was by chance that this happened to us. So the men did so. They took 2 milking cows and harnessed them to the utility cart. But then they shut up their calves in the stall. Then they put the ark of Yahweh on the utility cart with the container holding the gold mice and the images of their tumors. The cows went straight on the way of the road to Beth Shemesh, on the one main road, lowing as they went. They did not turn aside to the right or to the left, and the rulers of the Philistines were walking after them up to the border of Beth Shemesh. Now the people of Beth Shemesh were reaping the wheat harvest in the valley. They lifted their eyes and saw the ark, and they were glad to see it. The utility cart came to the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh and stopped there where there was a large stone. They split the wood of the utility cart and sacrificed the cows as a burnt offering to Yahweh. Then the Levites took down the ark of Yahweh and the container that was beside it, in which were the gold objects, and they set them on the large stone. Then the men of Beth Shemesh offered burnt offerings, and they made sacrifices to Yahweh on that day. The 5 rulers of the Philistines saw it and returned to Ekron that same day. Now these are the gold tumors which the Philistines returned as a guilt offering to Yahweh: 1 for Ashdod, 1 for Gaza, 1 for Ashkelon, 1 for Gath, 1 for Ekron. And the gold mice according to the number of all the cities of the Philistines, for their 5 rulers, from the fortified city to the unwalled village of the open country, as far as the great stone where they set the ark of Yahweh until this day, in the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh. He struck 70 men among the men of Beth Shemesh because they looked into the ark of Yahweh. So the people mourned because Yahweh had struck a great blow among the people. Then the men of Beth Shemesh asked, "Who is able to stand before Yahweh, this holy God? And to whom shall it go up from us?" And they sent messengers to the inhabitants of Kiriath-Jearim, saying, "The Philistines have returned the ark of Yahweh. Come down and take it up to yourselves." 1 Samuel chapter 7. The men of Kiriath-Jearim came and brought up the ark of Yahweh, and they brought it to the house of Ebenezer in Gibeah. They consecrated Eleazar his son to guard the ark of Yahweh. From the day the ark stayed in Kiriath-Jearim, days multiplied and became 20 years, while all the house of Israel mourned after Yahweh. And Samuel spoke to all the house of Israel, saying, "If with all your heart you are turning to Yahweh, remove the foreign gods and Ashtoreths from your midst. Commit your hearts to Yahweh and serve him alone. Then he will deliver you from the hand of the Philistines." So the Israelites removed the Baals and the Ashtoreths, and they served Yahweh alone. Then Samuel said, "Gather all Israel to Mizpah, and I will pray to Yahweh for you." So they gathered to Mizpah, and drew water, and poured it out before Yahweh. They fasted on that day, and said there, "We have sinned against Yahweh." So Samuel judged the Israelites at Mizpah. Now, when the Philistines heard that the Israelites had gathered at Mizpah, the rulers of the Philistines went up against Israel. And when the Israelites heard of it, they were afraid of the Philistines. Then the Israelites said to Samuel, "You must not cease from crying out to Yahweh our God, so that he will deliver us from the hand of the Philistines." So Samuel took a single nursing lamb and sacrificed it as a whole burnt offering to Yahweh. Then Samuel cried out to Yahweh on behalf of Israel, and Yahweh answered him. While Samuel was sacrificing the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near for the battle against Israel. But Yahweh thundered against the Philistines with a great noise on that day, and threw them into confusion so that they were defeated before Israel. Then the men of Israel went out from Mizpah and pursued the Philistines, and they struck them down as far as below Beth-kar. So Samuel took a single stone and put it between Mizpah and Shen, and he named it Ebenezer, and said, "Up to here Yahweh has helped us." So the Philistines were subdued, and they did not come into the territory of Israel again, and the hand of Yahweh was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. The towns which the Philistines had taken from Israel were returned to Israel from Ekron to Gath, and Israel delivered their territories from the hand of the Philistines. Then there was peace between Israel and the Amorites. Samuel judged Israel all the days of his life. He used to go on the circuit from year to year. He went around Bethel, Gilgal, and Mizpah, and he judged Israel in all these places. Then he returned to Ramah, because his house was there, and he judged Israel, and he built an altar to Yahweh there. The New Testament reading is from John chapter 11, beginning with verse 45, through John chapter 12, verse 11. John 11:45. Then many of the Jews who had come with Mary and saw the things which he did believed in him. And some of them went to the Pharisees and told them the things which Jesus had done. So the chief priests and the Pharisees called together the Sanhedrin and said, "What are we doing? For this man is performing many signs. If we allow him to go on in this way, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and our nation." But a certain one of them, Caiaphas, who was high priest in that year, said to them, "You do not know anything at all, nor do you consider that it is profitable for you that one man should die for the people, and the whole nation not perish." Now he did not say this from himself, but being high priest in that year, he prophesied that Jesus was going to die for the nation, and not for the nation only, but also that the children of God who are scattered would be gathered into one. So from that day they resolved that they should kill him. So Jesus was no longer walking openly among the Jews, but went away from there to the region near the wilderness, to a city called Ephraim, and there he stayed with the disciples. Now the Passover of the Jews was near, and many went up to Jerusalem from the surrounding country before the Passover, so that they could purify themselves. So they were looking for Jesus and were speaking with one another while standing in the temple courts. "What do you think, that he will not come to the feast?" Now the chief priest and the Pharisees had given orders that if anyone knew where he was, they should report it, in order that they could arrest him. John chapter 12. Then 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. So they made him a dinner there, and Martha was serving, but Lazarus was one of the ones reclining at table with him. Then Mary took a pound of ointment of very valuable, genuine nard, and anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair.
and the house was filled with the fragrance of the ointment. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, the one who was going to betray him, said, "Why was this ointment not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" Now he said this not because he was concerned about the poor, but because he was a thief, and having the money box, he used to steal what was put into it. So Jesus said, "Leave her alone, so that she may keep it for the day of my preparation for burial. For you have the poor with you always, but you do not always have me." Now a large crowd of Jews found out that he was there, and they came not only because of Jesus, but so that they could see Lazarus also, whom he raised from the dead. So the chief priests decided that they would kill Lazarus also, because on account of him many of the Jews were going and believing in Jesus. The wisdom literature reading is from Proverbs chapter 12, verse 18 through 27. Proverbs 12:18. There is one who speaks rashly, like a thrust of the sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. A lip of truth endures forever, but a tongue of deception lasts only a moment. Deceit is in the heart of those who plan evil, but to those who plan peace there is joy. No evil will happen to the righteous, but the wicked are filled with trouble. An abomination of Yahweh are lips of deceit, but they who act faithfully are his delight. A clever person conceals knowledge, but the heart of a fool announces folly. The hand of the diligent ones will rule, but the lazy will belong to forced labor. Anxiety in the heart of a man will weigh him down, but a good word will cheer him. A righteous person will seek out his neighbor, but the way of the wicked will lead them astray. The lazy will not roast his game, but diligence is the precious wealth of a man. This concludes the reading for day 140. Thank you for listening.
These daily readings are made possible by your generous support of the global outreach ministry of Scott Purcell. To partner with us and enable this work and others like it, please visit huttobible.com/give and select Go Pastor Support from the fund list. You can also sign up for ministry updates at scott-purcell.epistle.org/subscribe. Both of those links can be found in the podcast description. Thank you for helping us share God's Word.